Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Narom Sheva Narottanam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jamudihayat Nastavaisya Vadhesu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamasloke Bhaktir Bhavtim Naistike. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9, the passing way of Bhishmadev, text 48. So it's on the board, yes?
Yes.
So you can repeat. Tato Yudhishthiro Gatva Sa Krishna Gajavayam Pitaram Santvayam Asa Gandharim Sa Tapashvinim Tato Yudhishthiro Gatva Sa Krishna Gajavayam Pitaram Santvayam Asam Gandharim Satapasvinim Tato Yudhishthiro Gatva Sa Krishna Gajavayam Pitaram Santvayam Asam Gandharim Satapasvinim Yato Yudhishthiro Gatva Sa Krishna Gajavayam Pitaram Santvayam Asam Gandharim Satapasvinim Tato Yudhishthiro Gatva Saha Krishna Gajavayam Pitaram Santvayam Asam Gandharim Satapasvinim Tato Yudhishthiro Gatva Saha Krishna Gajavayam Pitaram Santvayam Asam Gandharim Satapasvinim. Word for word translation. Tata. Thereafter, Yudhishthira, Maharaj Yudhishthir, Gatva, going there, Saha, with Krishna, the Lord, Gachavayam, in the capital named Gachavaya Hastinapur. Pitaram unto his uncle Dhritarashtra, Santvayam Masa consoled Gandharim, the wife of Dhritarashtra, Cha, and Tapashvinim, an ascetic lady. Translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Thereafter, Maharaj Yudhishthira at once went to his capital, Hastinapur, accompanied by Lord Shri Krishna, and there he consoled his uncle and aunt, Gandhari, who was an ascetic. And the purport. Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, the father and the mother of Duryodhana and his brothers, were the elder uncle and aunt of Maharaj Yudhishthira. After the Battle of Kurukshetra, the celebrated couple, having lost all their sons and grandsons, were under the care of Maharaj Yudhishthira. They were passing their days in great agony and over such a heavy loss of life, and were practically living the life of ascetics. The death news of Bhishma Dev, uncle of Dhritarashtra, was another great shock for the king and the queen, and therefore they required soldiers for Maharaj Yudhishthira. Maharaj Yudhishthira was conscious of his duty, and he at once hurried to the spot with Lord Krishna and satisfied the bereaved Dhritarashtra with kind words from both himself and the Lord also. Gandhari was a powerful ascetic, although she was living the life of a faithful wife and a kind mother. It is said that Gandhari was also voluntarily closed her eyes because of the blindness of her husband. A wife's duty is to follow the husband cent per cent, and Gandhari was so true to her husband that she followed him even in his perpetual blindness. Therefore, in her actions, she was a great ascetic. Beside that, the shock she suffered because of the wholesale killing of her 100 sons and her grandsons also was certainly too much for a woman. But she suffered all this just like an ascetic. Gandhari, although a woman, is no less than Bhishma Dev in character. They are both remarkable personalities in the Mahabharata. Now read the first once again. Tato Yudhishthiro Gatva Sa Krishna Gachavayam Pitram Santvayam Asa Gandharim Sa Tapashvinim. Thereafter, Maharaj Yudhishthira at once went to his capital, Hastinapur, accompanied by Lord Shri Krishna, and there he consoled his uncle and aunt Gandhari, who was an ascetic. Om Magyana Timandasya Chinan Shanam Shankam Chaksuran Meditam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Upakadamyam Dadanti Svapadantikam Vandeham Shiyuda Padakamanam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Sa Shri Rupam Jagajatam Sakanaragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parjana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sakanalita Shivshakam Vitam Sham He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jatpate Gopesha Gopakanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchna Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhani Sutadevi Panamama Haripriya Vancha Kalpta Vishake Pasnivivsha Padnam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavyo Namana Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasad Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I'm Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani Nirvashesha Srinyavadi Paskachani Desvatani Srila Prabhupada Ki. So I'm happy to be here. It's something else on a digital image in life that but yes, that we are in this ninth chapter of the first canto. We have just heard the whole pastime of the passing away of Bhishmadev. The essence of this chapter was that after the battle of Kurukshetra, Yudhishthira Maharaj could not be convinced that the entire battle of Kurukshetra was his fault, because he was thinking, yes, millions of Kshatriyas have died just to bring me on the throne. I will go to hell for millions of lifetimes for that. And he could not be convinced, even not by Lord Krishna, because that was Krishna's plan, because he wanted that Yudhishthira Maharaj would be convinced by Bhishmadev. And Bhishmadev, I think in the battle of Kurukshetra, he fell on the 10th day of the battle, I think. 10th day. Yeah. So he was lying there already for 10 days now, at least. And yeah, in Kurukshetra, no, in the winter, it's a bit like here now, not too warm, and close to freezing sometimes. And I was lying there. But he was fully conscious that normally he should not have stayed alive, because with all these arrows in his body, all his blood was out. But they said, yeah, by eating grains from the Kauravas, he became contaminated by their mentality, influenced. And now that influence was gone, all the blood was out. But still, in that condition, after the battle was over, that then all the Pandavas in kingly retinue, nicely dressed, they came before Bhishmadev. And Bhishmadev was very happy, because he wanted the Pandavas to be on the throne. He wanted them to be successful. But then Krishna asked Bhishmadev to instruct Yudhishthira Maharaj in his duties that and for many days he instructed Yudhishthira Maharaj. Normally a person who is on the verge to die and has all these arrows in his body, you don't ask questions. No? But Krishna asked him to explain all the duties of a king. So he was speaking for many days, but then at the end he said, yes. He said to Yudhishthira Maharaj, you think that this battle was fought to bring you on the throne? I said, no. This battle has to be fought because it was Krishna's plan. That it was all Krishna's plan. Krishna's plan is supreme. That and then Yudhishthira Maharaj accepted. Yeah. When you become a devotee, Krishna has a plan for you. He has a plan, but it may not be our plan. It's different. Because Krishna is our well-wisher. He gives suffering to rectify us. And he gives some success to inspire us to go. Yeah. But then Bhishma Dev, when the time was there to leave his body, he fixed his mind on Krishna, and he saw only Krishna who was sitting before him. And he left his body. So that's the ideal way to leave one's body. That Krishna in your mind. But now, after Bhishma Dev had departed, the Maharaj Yudhishthira went to Dhritarashtra and Gandhari because they lost all their children. That 100 children. The eldest was Duryodhana. That Duryodhana was killed in a glove fight with Bhima. That Gandhari is mentioned here as an ascetic. I think she was from Gahandhar or something. Gahandhar. Kandahar province. And that's now in Pakistan, they say. Kandahar. Afghanistan. Yeah. That, and she was a great ascetic. That to follow your husband in the blindness was not easy. That but Bhishma Dev was also very dear to Dhritarashtra. Because Duryodhana, Dhritarashtra's son, became very envious of the Pandavas. And Duryodhana went to Dhritarashtra and said, his father, I cannot live with these Pandavas. We have to annihilate them. We need to remove them. Otherwise, I cannot feel happy. And Dhritarashtra said, I understand. But let me consult with Bhishma Dev, with Vidura, and with Dronacharya. And he consulted with them. And they decided to divide the kingdom in two parts. One part for the Pandavas, and the other part was for the Kauravas, the sons of Dhritarashtra. But of course, Dhritarashtra had a great affection for his son. Anyway, this is story of the Mahabharata. But Gandhari was very ascetic, and by our austerity, she got great power. And she used her power a few times. Because she wanted also to be her sons to be victorious. And she said to Duryodhana, you come tomorrow before me naked. I will open my blindfold and look at you, and then all what I see of your body will become as iron. Nobody will conquer you. But then, of course, at a certain moment. So the next day, he went to his mother naked, but on the way he saw Krishna and Krishna said to what are you doing? You are a human, you should at least wear a gamsa. So he was wearing a gamsa. He was practically that's the only time he follows Krishna's instructions. He put on a gamsa and he came before his mother, Gandhari, and she put up a blindfold. And she looked at him and she saw he was wearing a gamsa. And she said, you should have become naked. Because now that part that I didn't see, that will be vulnerable. His thighs were his weak point. And that's how later Bhima killed him. But Gandhari asked, who has told you to wear this gamsa? To Duryodhana, and Duryodhana said Krishna. And Gandhari understood, this is Krishna's plan, nothing I can do. But here's mentioned the Maharaj Yudhishthira, the Pandavas and Krishna are visiting Dhritarashtra and Gandhari to console them and Gandhari said to the Pandavas and Krishna, I know who is really responsible for this battle of Kurukshetra. I know it. And she said, it's you, Krishna. She knew, she understood it was Krishna's arrangement. And therefore she said to Krishna, I will curse you. You and your entire Yadu dynasty will be destroyed. And that were her words. And Krishna smiled. He said, thank you. I was thinking after my pastime, how will I remove all these yadus? Because if these yadus remain here, there will be a new burden for this world. They are too strong. So that was Gandhari. She was just. But you can imagine, you have 100 sons, and Bhima killed all his sons. that it is, yeah. And of course, because Gandhari, she was an ascetic, she could bear it. She understood. She had a vision which was beyond the bodily conception of life. Unfortunately, Tarastra did not have that vision. He was blind materially and spiritually. So that for this blindness. But most people in this world are only also blind. Krishna speaks in, he says in Bhagavad Gita, in 5.7 he's saying, we are part and parcels of Krishna. That's what we are. And this part in the next verse, he says, it's because Bhakti Prakati Janganon, because we have the tendency, of course, that's another verse of another chapter, but Bhakti Prakati Janganon means that we have the tendency to exploit this material world. Therefore, we transmigrate from one body to another. And the super soul, he knows our desires and our karma and arranges this transmigration. In the next verse, he says, yeah, but those whose mind are not developed cannot understand this. They cannot understand this. They don't see things as they are. So seeing things as they are, that is seeing spiritually. But the Dhritarashtra could not. And everyone in this world are Dhritarashtras. They cannot see what is going on. They see the moment, this tiny life with a few years. They don't understand from where we come, where we go. That it will take many years after that. Because Yudhishthira Maharaj, although Dhritarashtra and his sons were all the cause of the problems, he was still worshipping and maintaining Dhritarashtra. They gave him the state or the city of Hastinapur to rule after that. So they kept providing whatever he wanted. And then it took a few more years. And then one day, Vidura came back from pilgrimage. After 30 years, he came back. And the whole Pandava family, everyone received him nicely, Queen Kunti. But his purpose was to speak to Dhritarashtra. This will be further in the first canto, as explained. There's an entire chapter about that, where Vidura says to his brother Dhritarashtra that you are living at the cost of those who murdered your sons, who killed your sons. Are you not ashamed that try to understand, act with dignity your your digestion is not going anymore. You can't hear anymore. That said you should leave for the forest and prepare for death and meditate on the Supreme Brahman. Perform yoga and meditate. Become a dhira. That he did not instruct Dhritarashtra in Bhakti Yoga because he could not accept Krishna as the Supreme. But he wanted him to go towards liberation. And after that, Dhritarashtra understood this is the end of the body. I can stay here, but better to prepare for death and to get rid of all my attachments to my sons, to all these things. And they left secretly to the Himalayas. Dhritarashtra and Gandhari left without the knowledge of anyone. After they left, Vidura also left. But then Yudhishthira next morning was searching for Dhritarashtra and for Gandhari. And he was thinking about, where did they go? I hope they didn't go to the Ganga to kill themselves, because I did not treat them properly. I was thinking like that. But then he went to Sanjay, the secretary of the terrorist. And Sanjay said, these two great souls cheated me. They went without my knowledge. Prabhupada said, yes, I did the same. I did the same. I cheated my family and took sannyas. That because his wife would never give him permission for sannyas. Anyway, but that was sometimes great personalities cheat each other for the greater purpose. But then Narada Muni appeared, and he told, yes, the Gandhari and Dhritarashtra are now at the Himalayas. They are performing purificatory rites and for purification. And within 5 days from now, Dhritarashtra will leave his body, and by mystic yoga he will burn his body, and Gandhari will follow him in the funeral pyre. So yes, this is the mercy of Vidura. Vidura put him on the right path. But yes, it is a heavy loss to lose children. But finally, we may be very attached to our children, but these children has also to die with the same fate. That we may invest so much, but it's all temporary. We have got so many relatives in past lives, in the lives before. Are we still concerned with them? No, no memory anymore. It's gone. But what's important in our lives, our relationship with Krishna, that's eternal, that never stops. And it's always the same relationship. Krishna consciousness means we are developing our relationship with Krishna. But yes, we can learn also something from Dhritarashtra and Gandhari. That Dhritarashtra have made many mistakes, and we should not make these mistakes. That we should keep on following the advice of spiritual advanced persons and not listen to them and then do your own thing. That will not work. That doesn't work. That was Dhritarashtra. That he heard so many good advice from Vidura, but because of his attachment to his sons, he could not do it. But these attachments and aversions are in the way of our relationship with Krishna. Therefore, it's but how do you overcome this attachment? Krishna says, Mama Maya Raja. But Mami Vaye Prabhachante Maya Medam Tarantite. This Maya is very difficult to overcome. You cannot overcome it. But it's easily to overcome, Krishna says, when one surrenders unto me. That surrender unto me. That surrender. Surrender means let Krishna decide, not me. That is surrender. We give everything to Krishna, and Krishna does with us what he wants. But Krishna takes care of us according to the level of our surrender. According to one's surrender, Krishna, I reciprocate, I answer. If we surrender completely, he answers 100%. If we surrender 25%, he applies 25%. So therefore, purity of devotional service means purity in desire to give everything to Krishna. That is Krishna consciousness, changing our desire. Bali Maharaj said, this so-called spiritual master, Shukracharya. Shukracharya was the spiritual master of the demons. What do the demons want? They want to enjoy. And Shukracharya was showing them how to enjoy according to the scriptures. That's called karma kanda. Karma kanda, how to enjoy according to the scriptures. That is karma kanda. Therefore, it was their ideal spiritual master. Not really a spiritual master, but anyway, he was teaching the Vedas. But when Vamadev was begging from Bali Maharaj, then Bali Maharaj, spiritual master, Shukracharya said, don't give him anything, because you will lose everything. But Bali Maharaj was a grandson of Prahlad Maharaj, pure devotee. he was remembering the teachings of his father. And he said, I cannot do that. It's my duty to give everything to Krishna, to Vamandev. I give him everything. And he gave him everything. And his spiritual master cursed him and said, now you will lose everything. He lost everything in the beginning. He was arrested and so many things. But finally, Krishna gave him a planet which was better than the heavenly planet. And Krishna became his doorkeeper. Vamandev became his doorkeeper. And he promised Pali Maharaj, you want to become Indra? In the next one, Manvantara, you will be Indra. So he got so much by giving everything to Krishna that. But afterwards, Vamandev had a talk with Shukracharya. What's the fault in your disciple that you cursed him? And he had to admit there is no fault in him. No, that's give everything. But we don't want to give everything because we have material desires in our heart. Material desires are prayers to Krishna. Give me this, give me that. But to get that from our heart, we must purify our heart. We must learn how to chant the holy names in a proper attitude. We must hear every day the Bhagavatam that we hear from about the futility of material life. This is not a place we should be. Our home is Goloka Vrindavan. That's our real home. And Krishna is waiting for us. And all our friends are waiting for us there. But we decided to play with the material energy and to think ourselves successful, or we think ourselves unhappy because we did achieve this and that. But there is nothing to achieve in this world. This world means Dukkalayana Shasvata, suffering and temporary. Spiritual life means Ananda, Anandamaya Vyasat, unending spiritual happiness. Therefore, King Rishabhadev, he instructs his son in 551. Don't go after sense gratification in your life like hawks and dogs. No, keep that up. No, engage in pure devotional service with the goal to get unending happiness, happiness that does not stop. But even if we apply the process, if we apply the process correctly with the right attitude, while performing the process, we feel happy and we will attain this bliss. Because Dhritarashtra and Gandhari were in shock. But these are all shocks for temporary things. They had to die themselves soon. The drama is over. Not much of importance. What's important is our relationship with Krishna. Stop here if no questions.
Yes, Maharaj, thank you. With Dhritarashtra and a lot of the demons, like Krishna's enemies, he's always giving them impersonal liberation. Before that, to me, that looked like kind of Krishna being very merciful, but isn't that not very, like, it's not a good thing to get the impersonal liberation? Do we know anything about what happens after a soul gets impersonal liberation? Like,
Yeah.
are they more likely to come to Krishna consciousness, or do they go back all the way to zero?
So there's a lot to say about this. I repeat the question that, yeah, what's the destiny of the impersonalists? What do they achieve? And is there a possibility that they become devotees later? In the Bhagavatam, Lord Brahma, Canto 10, chapter 14, he says, Yengere vindakse vimuktamatn maninast verstabaya avisuda buddhaya aruya kishena prampatam pata patantyo dada. Yeah, I forgot the last line, but it means that after great endeavor, many lifetimes, they come to the realization that they are spirit, Brahman, and they are able to give up all their attachment. It's a very troublesome process. It takes many lifetimes of performing of yoga, especially in Kali Yoga, very difficult. In Satya Yoga, that was more normal, but they had also more time. But then it's a Ashtanga Yoga is a mechanistic process to purify the subtle body from attachment. These attachments are in our subtle body, and the subtle body is pervading the gross body. So these are also in our gross body. It's like the DNA, but much more deeper. You have in every cell is our karma, because every cell in our body is part of our karma. And you have to cleanse that out, all these attachments. And it takes long. And they do it by breathing exercises. They are controlling different subtle airs. Scientists today have still to find these subtle airs. It's nothing to do with oxygen or something. It's a subtle energy. And with breathing exercise, they can cleanse out all this attachment. And when this attachment, these airs are covering the spirit soul. And then they bring the soul to the heart chakra, then between the eyes, and then to the randra. And then at an auspicious time, they leave the body on their own will, and they attain the Brahma Jyoti. Brahma Jyoti is outside this material universes, all these universes between the spiritual world and the material universe. You have the Brahma Jyoti. And they become one with the Brahma Jyoti. Means the spirit soul is situated in the Brahma Jyoti. They still retain their individuality. They still retain their consciousness, but they are peaceful. This is very nice. If you come after many births in the material world, you are peaceful. And so, yeah, spiritual peace Many people are hankering for that spiritual peace. And finally they attain it. But what's the problem with it? It's halfway realization. Their realization is I'm Brahmasmi, I'm spirit, but they don't know who they are. They only know I'm not a body, I'm spiritual. It's good, much more advanced than most people in this world. But the soul is, Krishna says in third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the spirit soul is active. If it's so active within the body, how can it be inactive outside the body? It's always active. So you are in the Brahmacharya and you want action. You want to do something but there's nothing to do. There's only peace. And you are sitting there for a few millions of years in peace, okay. But it's boring. And then, therefore, it's in the Bhagavatam, Patant Yada. They desire to come back to the spiritual world, to have activities. And they open hospitals and maybe help others, but they want action. So this liberation is only temporary. You have to come back. Prabhupada, that was in the 1961 or so, this Yuri was sent to space by the Russians, the first man who went around the world in a Sputnik. That when I use this word, when I speak to Russians of people from the Ukraine, they always smile. Sputnik means associate. Associate, yeah. That again, the Sputniks of Lord Chaitanya is Nityananda. Anyway, but yes, they have to come back. It's like you have an airplane, Prabhupada said, an airplane leaves. But once you leave, it has to come back. You have to come back. That I left Dublin for Orlando. You cannot go on flying. You must come down. You must come down. The fuel will be finished. You have to come down. Better before the fuel is finished. But, now, what is the chance they become devotees then when they come back? Krishna says, Bhavanam Jnananam Ante, faste. Yeah. Bhavanam Jnananam Ante, Jnanavam Prabhachate. Vastev Sarvamiti Samatma Sudulabha. Yeah. This is in the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. After many, many births, these jnanis, they come to understand that Vasudev, Krishna, is the source of Brahman and Paramat. And then they take to the devotional service. After many, many births. So, means mostly that doesn't happen. That happens only when Lord Chaitanya says that Brahmanda Brahmite Kunyavan Brahmanda Brahmite Kunya Bhagavan Shiva Go Krishna Prasad Bhakti Lata Beach. After many, many births going up and down in this universe, or going to Brahma Jyoti and back, that they realize, yeah, They um, they they meet by the mercy of Krishna a bona fide guru. And this guru, by the mercy of Krishna, gives this guru gives them the seat of bhakti, the holy name, that the seat of devotional service. And he asked them to water the seed by chanting and hearing. So the only solution is when they meet a devotee of Krishna. But then you have the mercy of Krishna that but thing is that when does Krishna gives this mercy that in the third chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, in third canto of the Bhagavad Gita, at the end, there it is said that one would chant the holy name as in his previous life, performed all austerities and studied all the Vedas, did all the sacrifices mentioned in the Vedas. So that's an indication. If one has done all these things, then finally Krishna will give his mercy and be in contact with a bona fide spiritual master and so on. So when the asked Srila Prabhupada, did we really do it? Did we really do that? In our previous life, Prabhupada, all these austerities and all this study from the Vedas, and did we do that? Prabhupada replied, don't worry about it. I did them for you. So that is the mercy of a pure devotee. That's essential to come to that point. Krishna delegates the power to give bhakti to his pure devotee. That is how they can become devotees. But it depends if you have two kinds of impersonalists. You have Mayavadis at one side, and you have the Brahmavadis. The Brahmavadis, they don't say that Krishna is made by material energy, comes down by the material energy, and Krishna is a product of the material energy. That's the Mayavadis. That's very offensive. But they accept Krishna as transcendental, no problem. But they make one mistake. They think that Brahman is higher than Krishna. These are the Brahmavadis. So they are not offenders to Krishna. An example for that is the four Kumaras. They were Brahmavadis in the beginning. They didn't know what was supreme. They were a process of liberation. They represented each process of liberation. Yoga, Vairagya, Tapasya, that were the processes they represented. But the Mayavadis, they think Brahman is supreme and Krishna is product of material nature. He's material. And so they deride him. They blaspheme him. And they will not come to the realization, Bhagavan and Paramatma. They will not come to that point. Never, because they are offenders. But those who are Brahmavadis, they can meet a devotee. And that's what happened. The four Kumaras had association with Brahma, and Brahma told them about Krishna as the source of Brahma and Paramatma. Therefore, they became devotees. And they became so eager, they wanted to go to Vaikuntha. They went to the gate of Vaikuntha. They could go to the gate because they were liberated. They could go to Brahman. But to go from the Brahman to Vaikuntha, you must have love for God. That, of course, they became all devotees, pure devotees. Does that help to understand? Okay. Something else?
Yes, Maharaj, if you have time.
Yeah.
So you mentioned in the class, Krishna has his own plan, and according to that, it happens. How should we understand, like when we have some seva or some activities we wanted to do, but because of our lack of sincerity or laziness or forgetfulness, we are not able to do that seva. Then is it Krishna, how to understand it? Is Krishna's plan, or is it because of our lack of sincerity?
Yeah, Krishna gives us circumstances in which we, according to our karma, our past, and we have to accept these circumstances. But within these circumstances, you have free will. And we have to use our free will totally to serve Krishna. If we are not doing that, that is our laziness, certainly. But of course, we may have our plans, but always consider, are our plans in line with Krishna's plan? How do we know? We confirm with Prabhupada, with the spiritual master, with the devotees, then we know that it's in line. But yes, Krishna has a specific plan with each of us. That because we are all different in this material modes. And Krishna's plan is also different for each of us. How to disentangle us from this material nature and to become attracted to him. When we perform devotional service, constantly we are under the internal energy. And then we must accept everything, what's happening in our life, good or bad, as Krishna's. And that's many times a big thing for us. Bitter pill to swallow for the conditioned soul. That things are not going our plan. That I wanted this and that, and I get the opposite. But we should make plans for Krishna. Then that attachment is not there. That's real love. You try to please the beloved. And what the beloved with you do, that you accept as his mercy. Aslisya vapatamritas pinastumam. Ja, aslisya vapatamritam pinastumam. Tam vavidatatanam patonat pranat saipa. Aslisya vapatamritam pinastumam. Adakshinam marmatam kaudeva. Yadatatava vidatatanam patonat prananastastu saivanapa. It's Lord Chaitanya praying to Krishna. That's in the mood of Radharani. He says to Krishna, whatever you do with me, if you make me broken-hearted by not being present for me, that whatever you do with me, that I still will love you with all my heart. And that's pure love. A high level, we cannot jump to that. But that's the idea where we should go and strive for that. And tolerate that. Tolerate. If we have to tolerate because of pain, means we have false ego. False ego is the cause of our suffering. Because the soul has nothing to do with this material world. It's all going by, and it's over. So don't take this external world too serious, but we seriously engage everything in the service of Krishna, but don't take it too serious. And be apart. Yeah. Be apart, but stay apart. That's the question you need to learn. Does that help?
Yes.
Good. Thank you very much. Good. Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.
Maharaj ki jai.